watching what's called the low-level rotation track, which has been pretty consistent from when it moved out of Kimball County and then moved across near Erna and then moved into Mason County. And when we see these brighter shades of blue, that's when the rotation is a little bit stronger. But in the grand scheme of things, blue is still in general on the weak side. So as far as tornado potential, anytime I see greens, that's when I get really, really worried. We're right now seeing some pockets of blue. There may be a spin up, there may be a touchdown that would be a lower end tornado threat, but there definitely could be some wind damage with this. So we are seeing that this storm is not losing its rotational characteristics. Instead, it is continuing at a pretty good clip, now looking like it's to the southeast as opposed to due east. So flash flood warning, potential very large hail, possible tornado, and we're all kind of zooming in on this area, which is in Mason County, especially in the western and southwestern part of the county. So the north side of the storm is where we're seeing the worst in terms of hail. The southern side of the storm is where that inflow notch is and where the possible tornado could be. Either way, make sure you stay indoors so that you can be safe. So we're looking now at 377 between Kimball County and Mason County. This is Erna right here. This is Streeter right here, and this is showing the hail tracker. Those shades that you see there indicated in the yellow are where the largest of the hail is being indicated. Right now it's showing as golf ball sized hail that's falling just to the east of Erna and just to the west of Streeter. Just to the south of Erna also showing golf ball sized hail. So take precautions. That is definitely enough that it could cause damage. It could bust through windows and cause you to have to get your roof redone and all those things that we definitely don't like to see. Tornado warning is still in effect until 5:30 at least. Again, because this storm is still rotating, I would expect that even if we get past 5:30 and it's still spinning, it's going to be pushing, just so you know, out of Mason County, and the next stop is going to be northern Gillespie County. So if you live in, for instance, Loyal Valley, in Doss, maybe in Harper, out toward Fredericksburg, if this storm that is currently tornado warned holds together, then you could be next in line for a potential tornado and or wind damage and or very large hail plus flood threat as well. So tornado warning still continuing in effect until 5:30 this evening. I'm going to zoom in as tight as I can. It's tricky because there's not a lot of roads here. We've got Pecan Ridge Road, we've got Shooting Star, we've got Ranch Road 1871, Stevens Road, and it looks like Lazy H Road is another one. So these are basically the roads that are going to be closest to where the circulation is showing up on radar right now. And this is where the tornado warning is in effect and where I would hope that you would be making and taking those safety precautions. So Pecan Ridge Road, Stevens Lane. It looks like to the east, we've got a couple more indicators. The strong gusty winds, Farrell Road, Ranch Road 1871 as mentioned earlier, Cross Triangle Road as well. So those are some of the locators for you if you're wondering where is the rotation most likely to be dropping a tornado. As far as towns, Streeter is to the north as well as Grit. Mason is to the northeast. The tornado warning includes all of you, but the most likely area of circulation is a little south of Streeter and a little southwest of Mason. So if you're on the south side of Mason, please be in that tornado safe spot. If you are along those roads that I mentioned, be inside, be indoors. Typically when we have severe thunderstorms moving through an area, our web team will also stream this on social media. So my hope is that they're doing that so that you can also stay aware, so that you can not have to be in front of your TV. You can take your device with you and we can stream it and you can kind of walk through this with us as you're taking shelter. You can also download our CBS Austin weather app for the latest as far as the warnings that are being issued. And as of yet, we have one warning for our area, and it is right here, the one that I'm tracking for Mason County, a tornado warning that is in effect until 5:30 this evening and possibly could continue, based on the fact that the rotation doesn't seem like it's quitting. It seems like it's intensifying. So the big thing that I'm watching right now is I'm waiting to determine whether any spotters out there, because I know there's a ton of weather spotters that have been tracking these storms this afternoon and the evening, waiting to see if any of these spotters actually report a touchdown. There had been one spotter report out in Menard County at 4:13 today of a confirmed tornado. Right now, I'm looking to see if there are any additional reports, and it looks like flash flooding in Menard. That was out at 4:40 this afternoon. By the way, I can confirm for you, I just saw that CBS Austin on X said, yes, we are streaming this live. So live coverage, you can stream it with us on our streaming channels here right now. We had a storm chaser reporting, oh my goodness, 5-inch diameter hail. That came in at 4:23, so it was quite a while ago. This was still when the storm was in Menard County, but that's significant hail, 5 inches in diameter, which is not often. That's about grapefruit size, if not larger. So just be aware that there is definitely potential for extreme damaging hail with this, along with possible damaging wind and tornado threat. So all of these things coming together all at the same time, which is why we've got the severe thunderstorm warning, the flash flood warning, and the tornado warning concurrently over Mason County all at the same time. All right, so I think I'm caught up on the latest, and I'm still not seeing any reports of a touchdown of a tornado. However, the storm entering Mason County about, 5:08 is roughly when it crossed out of Kimball County and into Mason County. I'll put it into motion for you so you can again see those winds intensifying. We've got the blues corresponding to 70+ mile per hour winds. We've got the yellows corresponding again to 70 mile per hour winds right along Ranch Road 1871. So when the storm crossed out of Kimball County and east into western Mason County, the storm at that point was capable of producing golf ball sized hail. Shortly thereafter, it intensified and then had the capability of tennis ball sized hail. So it's fair game that we could have 2 to even 3-inch diameter hail with this storm, along with damaging winds. But apparently a storm chaser posted some pictures on social media with this same storm system when it was up in Menard County of hailstones between 5.5 to 5.9 inches in diameter, which is incredible. That is going to be catastrophic damage for any areas that were in this. All right, so the tornado warning is in effect for Mason County. The storm is sliding to the east-southeast at about 20 miles per hour. So I'm going to go ahead and storm track from basically roughly where that rotation is to the southeast at about 20 miles per hour. And that is going to push it into northernmost Gillespie County if the storm stays at its current rate. So right now it's 5:22. This tornado warning is scheduled to expire at 5:30. I'm telling you, based on the rotation I'm seeing, they're not going to let it expire. They will extend this tornado warning because the threat of a tornado does continue with this much rotation and this high as far as the wind speeds. Eckert, James River, Bat Cave Preserve 5:32, Hilda 5:56, 6:07 for Onion Creek School, Doss, which we're now into Gillespie County at 6:19, and also the Doss School. So if you're currently monitoring this action that's to your north and you're in Gillespie County, let's say you're in Doss, let's say you're out toward Fredericksburg, please keep a close eye on our radar app and this streaming, because this potentially could slide right into Gillespie County, and it's possible that new warnings may be required for portions of Llano County perhaps, portions of Gillespie County perhaps, as this storm continues to show very strong wind speeds with it. Right now, no let up. The blues corresponding to 60, 70, possibly as high as 80 mile per hour winds. This is on the leading edge. And then the outbound winds are showing yellows, which correspond to roughly 70 mile per hour winds. Threshold for severe thunderstorm, 58 miles per hour. So anything above that, we're talking definite damage potential with this current tornado warned storm. I'll go back to the velocity image so that you can see, okay, this is the regular reflectivity image. And then just to look at this, remember I was talking about the inflow notch. This would have been the initial inflow notch right in here. It looked a little better when it was out closer to London. It looks a bit more ragged now. That's one thing that we kind of keep an eye on, is the look of the storm itself. But I also want to grab your attention to let you know that here we're seeing an appendage here, a little farther to the west, and another little appendage. And even though those are not concerning to the point of being new tornado warnings, anytime I'm watching rotating supercell thunderstorms, and I see these little dangly bits, if you will, that look like appendages. These are spots where there could be new inflow and new rotation couplets that are trying to develop. So even though the main storm, for instance, is moving to the east of Hext, there could be some additional development, kind of rebuilding or back building behind this as well. Checking in on the larger view, we also have some new storms. They're not severe yet, but they have developed to the east. We're looking at some sub-severe development of storms, kind of spotty to scattered activity now into Llano County as well, near Enchanted Rock, out toward Kingsland, Highway 71. So Marble Falls, you're seeing some storms that have just pushed through as well. So far, none of these are severe. The severe threat and the biggest problem right now remains the tornado warned storm that is in Mason County. Again, current time is 5:25. Tornado warning is in effect until 5:30 at least, because it will likely be extended even later on. Go back to the velocity, and the circle is where the initial circulation was right when that tornado warning was issued. And now we've watched as that circulation has been pretty steady. It's moving southeast. It's a very definite path where you can see where that rotation couplet, that area of winds going toward and away from the radar, which indicates rotation, moving right through here. And if anything, those wind speeds have gone up, and this has strengthened as opposed to diminishing or going down. So the only thing we're waiting to find out is if there are any actual social media reports and or storm chaser reports of a tornado touching down. Thus far, I'm not seeing anything. However, the tornado warning with considerable damage threat is still in effect. It is in effect until now. A new tornado warning has been issued until 6:15. Okay, so there we go. Remember I was talking about how I didn't think that there was any chance that this would be let go. Hopefully you're sitting in a safe spot and you can just hunker down and stream this on your device, or maybe watch it on TV if you're not currently in that tornado warning, because it's going to be a long evening. Now we've got until 6:15 this evening, the new tornado warning for the same storm, just because of the fact that this rotation has not been letting up. Instead, it is continuing, and the winds are likely 70+ miles per hour. New tornado warning, 6:15 is the current expiration time. Hail size 2 inches in diameter. That's about the size of a lime or an egg for your reference. And that is severe by every stretch of the imagination. Anything that is 1 inch in diameter or greater, quarter size or greater, is considered severe hail. So we've got 2-inch diameter hail, considerable damage threat. This is still radar indicated. As of yet, we have not heard of any spotters reporting an actual tornado. Yet, this same storm, this same supercell thunderstorm at 4:13, so just about an hour and 13 minutes ago or something like that, did drop a tornado very close to Menard. It was just southwest of Menard. So this same storm system is now in Mason County, still has that tornado warning. In case you're wondering, if you are in areas north of Mason, it looks like you're just going to be fine. South of Mason, that's where this circulation is. The new tornado warning box has been extended all the way to the bottom of Mason County and to the eastern border of Mason County. So that means if you're in Loyal Valley, you are now under this tornado warning. So heads up, Loyal Valley, make sure you are watching this closely and taking those tornado safety precautions, as a likely at least wind damaging and hail creating storm and possible tornado producer is moving its way toward the east and southeast at about 20 miles per hour. So we're watching as the strongest winds are actually right near the James River Bat Cave Preserve. So that's going to be near the Llano River, south of Mason. We'll zoom in and I'll give you some of the streets. There's not a lot out there. I actually did a story at the Bat Cave, and I remember driving, and there are some homes, there are some ranches. It is very rural though. Ranch Road 1871, Cross Triangle Road, James River Road, Hill Creek Road. Well, that may be, let me see what it is. I don't think it's Hill Creek. Let's see. It's Pecan Ridge Road, Farrell Road. There you go. So Pecan Ridge Road, Farrell Road, Ranch Road 1871, Cross Triangle Road. These are all roads within that rural section of Mason County currently under the tornado warning. And as I mentioned to you, we're talking about considerable damage with a tornado that could be making its way toward the Hilda area, roughly, as it's moving off toward the east with a little bit of a jog to the southeast at about 20 miles per hour. At around 7 miles to the south of Streeter, again, southeast movement at about 20. So I'll do another storm tracker for you. We're going to basically take a broad sweep from the edge of this tornado-warned storm and move it to the southeast at about 20 miles per hour. And this is going to be taking it through Mason County into Gillespie County. And here's the timing for you. 5:30 right now, 5:31 for the James River Eckert River Bat Cave Preserve, 5:56 for Hilda. So it looks like it is heading in that direction. Onion Creek School, 6:05. This warning that has been issued is in effect until at least 6:15. So at 6:16, assuming that the storm hasn't weakened and it's still tornado warned, we're looking at Doss. At 6:16, the Doss School, and at 6:24, Cherry Springs. So we're getting closer and closer to those populated areas, closer to Fredericksburg, as this storm is pushing toward the southeast at about 20 miles per hour. So the tornado warning in effect until 6:15. Current time now is 5:30. I've actually been talking to you about 40 minutes already, and the storm continues as strong as it was, if not stronger, when it first became tornado warned for our area. And to give you a little bit of history, it was around 4 o'clock or so that the first tornado warning was issued when it was out in Menard. Then a confirmed tornado dropped at 4:13. We also had hail between 3 inches and as much as 5.5 to 5.9 inches in diameter reported from that same cell. Then the storm moved its way closer to Mason County. So once it moved from the Kimball County line over into Mason County, that's when we saw our tornado warning issued, which was roughly right before 4:50 this evening. And then now we are here at 5:30, still watching very strong indications of rotation. Might not be super tight rotation, but definitely rotation. Here is the shear tracker. This is showing the low level rotation track. And you can kind of watch as it was a little bit stronger with these bright blues are, and now the purples where we are looking right now are slightly weaker rotation. But anytime I see greens, that's when I really start to get concerned, and it was showing the greens when it was near Menard. That was earlier, and that was with the confirmed tornado. So current low-level rotation track is showing purples, which is the lowest, weakest rotation. But I would not let your guard down at all, because there is potential at any moment. There could be something spin up, drop down. My supposition is that there's probably enough storm chasers out there monitoring this cell that if it did touch down with a tornado, even as rural as it is out there in Mason County, I think we'd get a report. I think there's enough of people that are watching this storm that we would have heard. That said, this is the original inflow notch right in here. It looked really good once it was right near this arrow. It's looking a little less impressive, and when I say good, I mean favorable for tornado circulation. So it looks less impressive now than it had been. But I'm looking out to the west, I see a little bit of an appendage here. I see a little bit of an appendage here. I see a little bit more of an appendage. So with each of these ragged little tails, if you will, that drop down from the storms, any one of these could then become the next big storm that might be tornado warned later on, or at least produce more severe weather. So it's going to be a long night the way things are looking. I hope you guys are safe and have enjoyed this holiday weekend. It was a tough morning as well. I know some of the memorial observances this morning out, for instance, in Sun City, we had some lightning right around the time that they were planning on doing their observance at 9:30 this morning with the first round of storms. And then we saw everything kind of recover. The atmosphere was able to overcome the temporary cooling and the temporary stabilization of the atmosphere after the morning storms. And here we stand watching this tornado warning still in effect. So inflow notch right in here, that would be the most likely area for possible tornadic circulation south of Mason. And see these bright echoes right here on radar between Grit and just to the south of Grit? That is where the likely hail core would be. So I'll show you velocities again. We'll continue to check in on where the circulation is. And anytime you see these purples, that's what we call range folding, which scientifically speaking is anything that's way out here in Kimball and Menard County, the radar that covers that is out of San Angelo, Texas. Once you move over into most of Mason, Llano counties points east, you're either looking at the radar coverage being from Granger in Williamson County or from New Braunfels down in Comal County. And anytime you're like right on the edge of those radar beams, you're gonna see these funky little purple things. So that's not real radar, that's just an artifact of the fact that Mason County just happens to be right on the edge between the scans of two separate radars. That said, it's still looking likely that these bright blues right in here are 70-mile-per-hour winds, so certainly still a concern in terms of possible wind damage. We'll look again at the hail, and the hail core actually has weakened a little bit, which is encouraging. Earlier, the hail core was out in the yellow zone right in here, and this was indicative of 2-inch plus diameter hail. Now we're looking, here's Grit, here's Mason 377, there's Art, here's Highway 29 skirting right through here, 377 from Grit to Streeter to Erna. And south of Erna and south of Streeter is where we're seeing a broad area of likely hail. However, typically it's not until we get into the yellows where we're seeing that giant, really damaging hail. I'll go ahead and query this current hail core, and it's going to be a little, I mean, it's still going to be severe, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be as big. So instead of dealing with egg, tennis ball, sized hail, we're looking at quarter size with this little cyan color and ping pong ball with the green color. Still damaging hail, still an issue, not as bad as earlier. So the hail core does show signs that it is diminishing slightly. As to whether that means that the storm itself is finally starting to weaken, that yet to be seen. But the hail core at least does show signs that it's not as strong, even though it is still severe. All right, let's talk about the other elements of the storm. 536, if you've been watching, today is a day with severe weather threat at level 3 of 5 across not just the hill country, but also the I-35 corridor, including Austin. There will likely be storms that make it all the way into Austin later on this evening. This is the big view. In addition to the tornado warning, we also have a severe thunderstorm warning. We have tons of lightning, over 2,500 lightning strikes, the worst and strongest storm between Highway 377 and south of Mason and skirting down south through the southernmost parts of Mason County, heading toward Gillespie County. So that's why I urge you to stay weather aware if you are, especially in places like Doss and Loyal Valley, if you are up in northern sections like Cherry Spring of Gillespie County. Tornado warned, severe warned, flash flood warned, large hail system, all moving in with lots of very dangerous lightning as well. And that said, since it is the holiday, a lot of people are probably out boating, recreating. This is not a good situation in that regard because of the fact that we do have a lot of weather elements kind of coming together all at the same time. All right, so we've got the flood advisories indicated. I think I can actually show the flash flood warning as well. So let me see if I can turn that on so you can see where that is. Okay, so I'll turn the flood advisories off. So this area here, bordered in red, that is the flash flood warning. It's in effect until 8 p.m. This particular LCRA gauge shows just shy of an inch of rain. This one down here shows 1.86. And anytime I see these areas of yellow, that can sometimes be indicative of 2-inch plus rainfall total. So let me go ahead and check. Near Grid, it's showing 2.5 inches of rain. Just to the south of Hext, this is showing 3.6 inches of rain. So if you see water across the road, turn around, don't drown, because there is certainly the potential that we could be dealing with multiple hazards with this severe weather situation that we're dealing with. Tornado warning still in effect until 6:15 p.m. It is now for the storm that is moving into southern Mason County. If you are currently in Grit, Streeter, or Mason, I'm pleased to say that the circulation right here is south of you And it'll be just a matter of time before I'll be comfortable letting you guys come out of your hiding spots. But right now, Mason is just to the south of you where that circulation is moving its way. Here's Grit, here's Mason, here's the circulation. And we're just waiting to see if there are any reports of a touchdown, of a wall cloud. It's a rural area, so that's why I'm not super optimistic that we would see a lot given the fact that it's a pretty rural area. But as of yet, I am not seeing reports on social media and or from the National Weather Service of an actual touchdown with this tornado-warned storm. Still impressive looking circulation though. I'll zoom in now to the most likely roads that are closest to where the circulation is occurring. And that's going to be James River Road. Now we're looking at Shep Creek Road, Brandenburger. Let's see if that's a road. Brandenburger Ranch Road, 66 Ranch Road. So Brandenburger 66 Ranch Road, and then on toward Ranch Road 7. I can't see what that number is right behind Hilda, but if you're in Hilda, please make sure you are taking tornado safety precautions because this storm is heading toward you in southern Mason County, south of 87, south of Hedwig's Hill, and just to the west of Loyal Valley and Hilda. So likely circulation, tornado warned storm. The latest update, the tornado warning still in effect until 6:15. Hail size sitting at 2 inches in diameter, which is about the size of an egg or a size of a lime. And the circulation closest to the Eckert James River Bat Cave Preserve, also to the west, southwest of Hedwig's Hill, and to the due west of Hilda. So if you are in any of these towns, please make sure you are in that lowest level away from any windows to make sure that you're safe from what could be damaging winds on the north side of the storm, severe hail, and also flooding rain potential as well. Lots of dangerous lightning too. Shep Creek Road, the circulation is very close to you. James River Road as well. And it looks like Ranch Road 2389 to the north is another marker for you. So yeah, Ranch Road 2389. And then off here, Kettner-Willman Road and Simonsville Road. So those are some of the roads that are within the tornado warning that are closest to the circulation that I am continuing to track. And one of my radars is showing that 3-inch diameter hail still is quite possible within this storm. So earlier it had a report of hail as large as 5 inches. That was out in Menard County. Currently, we're looking at 2 to 3 inches in diameter for the potential of dealing with this. All right, so let's see the latest report from the San Angelo National Weather Service, which covers Mason County. I'm not seeing any additional reports of any severe weather from them in Mason County, but I do have a severe weather graphic. We'll see if any new reports have popped up. Let's go ahead and push toward the severe thunderstorm reports, and here we go. So storm reports thus far do not include any reports in Mason County proper, but we are under a tornado warning in Mason County. So the tornado initially touched down here. This is Menard, Highway 83 and Highway 190 and Highway 29. Menard at 4:13. It's been an hour and a half since then. It's now 5:43, and that same storm system merged with another storm, developed additional rotation, and a new tornado warning was issued that included Mason County. And that's where we stand right now with our Mason County tornado warning. And the big view shows non-severe storms, Llano County, Burnett County, Blanco County. Lots of severe storms as you head out west of Mason. Look at the amount of lightning with this thing, 2,200 lightning strikes. Mason County is really kind of the epicenter of the worst of this right now, but we're also watching as westward toward Kimball County, still dealing with additional severe thunderstorms, and to the north into McCulloch County, have some flood advisories there. And then as you head through Junction and points to the south and west, there are additional severe thunderstorms. So at some point, all of this is going to be moving eastward, possibly southeastward, which will affect those of you in Gillespie County, in Llano County, and likely downstream toward Burnett, Blanco, and possibly out toward the I-35 corridor as well. It's going to be a while, but we definitely kind of have to continue looking at this. All right, because the fact I've been on air as long as I have, one of my devices is about to run out of batteries, so I got to go get a cord so I can plug it in. Meanwhile, you all can continue to look at the radar as I put it in motion, and it's showing the big picture with the severe thunderstorm warnings, as well as the tornado warning, which is in effect till 6:15. We got the cord, got to plug it in. All right. So basically what we're looking at is severe thunderstorm threat continuing through the night. Even after today, we've got more threat possible tomorrow. So just keep in mind that this is going to be a long night, and we may not be done because tomorrow we could see some additional storms develop. Ooh, I don't think I got there in time. Got to wait for this to reboot. It ran out of battery before I got back and plugged it in. So I'll let this thing recycle. And in the meantime, we'll just talk over this particular radar image where we're watching as the tornado warning is in effect right now for another 30 minutes. Time now is 5:45. First tornado warning came out just about an hour ago for Mason County, but the same storm dropped a tornado earlier at 4:13 out in Menard, like southwest of Menard. So that's continuing to be the only confirmed tornado report that we had from this system. But there is continued rotation within these storms. Right now, the hail core is being indicated in the areas south of Streeter, south of Grit, south of Mason. So even if you're not currently dealing with severe weather in terms of a tornado or wind, you may be dealing with severe hail. And there's a pretty good expanse of it that was showing up on radar as a result of the big complex of storms. As far as motion, it is slowly sinking toward the south and east. And just to give you an idea, this slow movement is adding to some beneficial rain. I mean, we like the rain, but we definitely don't want the bad side effects. So because it is inching along so slowly, that does up our short-term flood threat, but it also increases the hope that we get some much needed rain that'll work its way downstream and maybe help the lakes, which would be ideal. All right, my computer's back up again. I should have caught it a little bit earlier because it timed out on me. Now I have to go back and log everything back in. So bear with me for a second as I do that. It's connecting. Let me grab some water. We've now officially been talking for an hour, folks. All right, I am officially logged back in. All right, so if you're just joining in, 5:47. Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day is a notorious day for severe thunderstorms. Think back to 1981. Think back to 10 years ago with Wimberley. We have had some massive severe weather outbreaks on this day, this weekend in general. And today we've had a long-lived tornado warning that's been a consistently rotating storm for over an hour. So we still have the tornado warning in effect. I'll go ahead and remove all the extra lightning that's kind of extraneous so that you can kind of see what we're looking at here in Mason County. Tornado warning is in effect until 6:15. The bright areas of fuchsia, that is the large hail. Farther south, this right in here, just to the east of the R in James River, that's the inflow notch, and that is the most likely area of rotation. And I'll show you the velocity so we can look at the circulation itself with the tornado warning still in effect for Mason County. About 2,200 people within this tornado warning, considerable damage possible, winds estimated 60, 70 plus miles per hour. And the original circulation when the tornado warning was first issued was closer to London, and now we can watch as that circulation just continues working its way to the south and east. One thing I am noticing though is it does look like it's kind of broadened out a little bit. See how it's pretty tight in here, and now it looks like it has broadened out just a little bit. That may be an encouraging sign, but it's still showing some very strong winds. We'll go back to the wind, and this is going to show how high some of those winds are within this tornado warned storm. We've got the winds out here closer to Hilda, which are toward the radar, and the winds out here near the James River Bat Cape Preserve, which are away from the radar. And you can basically infer that this is where there is the circulation or the spin. And looking at the intensity of the velocity returns is how we can determine, at least estimate, how strong the winds could be. So here, when we see these bright yellow winds, that could correspond to 70 or even 80 plus mile per hour winds. Closer to Hilda, that's where we're seeing a pretty good area of blue, which would correspond, the green being 50 mile per hour winds and the blue being 60 mile per hour winds. And anything that is greater than 58 miles per hour is considered severe. So we're still watching a circulation, which to me looks like it maybe has broadened out just a little bit. The tighter the circulation, the more likely that it could be able to produce a tornado. The broader the circulation, the likelihood that it is either weakening or sometimes the storms can kind of cycle where they intensify and then they weaken briefly and then they reorganize again. So we can't necessarily let our guard down, but I do think that it has shown some subtle signs of maybe reorganizing, possibly weakening. And the fact that we haven't had a tornado report out of this, despite the fact that it has been kind of a consistent signature, well, I think that's about as good as you can hope for, is we don't want to have severe weather. So the fact that currently, yes, it was probably dealing with hail and high winds, but we haven't seen a report of an actual tornado touching down. And I'm looking at one of my velocity products on my other computer, and it's showing basically a green circulation, and it's color coded to where green would be weak, red would be high. So with this instance, the rotation that is showing up within this, and again, the inflow notches right in here, it's on the weak side. Tornado warned nonetheless. Hilda, I want you in your safe spot. Loyal Valley, same thing. Castell, this is going to come close to you also. And the big hail core looks like it's weakening just a little bit, but it's sliding just on the south side of Mason. So if you are in Mason, it's possible that you may be experiencing some hail. Okay, so let's see if there is a report of a tornado. I just saw something on social media. I'm hoping to see some corroboration of the possibility of a tornado being on the ground. Let's see. Large tornado on the ground is what I was seeing reported just a little bit ago. Let me see if I can find any additional reference for this. Presume that there could be a tornado on the ground based on what this is showing. So tornado warning, don't mess around with it. Continue to remain weather aware. Right now, time is 5:52. Tornado warning until at least 6:15. Tornado warned storm now moving through southern Mason County. The inflow notch right about here. Hedwig's Hill, Mason, James River Bat Cape Preserve, Loyal Valley, all of these. And the storm is going to be heading into Gillespie County, so it would not at all surprise me if we end up seeing this trigger a downstream tornado warning into Gillespie County and possibly portions of southern Llano County as well. So that's what we're looking with the tornado warning continuing. Tornado circulation or possibility of a tornado continuing for Mason County and probably extending into northernmost sections of Gillespie as well as Llano counties. So if you are in the Hill Country, please make sure you stay weather aware. We're streaming this on our platforms on social media. You can also download our CBS Austin radar app for more information as well. Time is 5:53. We've been on the air for over an hour with continuous wall-to-wall coverage on the severe weather hitting Mason County. It's a rural area, so that makes it a little bit more challenging to get real-time reports. However, there are a lot of storm chasers that are out there on this storm kind of tracking what's going on. So my theory is that there probably are multiple reports of severe weather that are just taking time to be relayed to the National Weather Service and then in turn to us. But it looks as though there could be multiple circulations is what I'm seeing from one spot on social media. Let's see. I want to make sure I find verified sources. of the tornado warning. And if there is an actual tornado on the ground, I want to have a really good indicator of where it may be and make sure it's from a good source. So right now I'm still watching to see. Right now I'm not seeing reported from the National Weather Service if there is an actual tornado on the ground. Neither here nor there. We'll continue to treat it as though it is. So remain in your safe spot. I will say now that we're watching this move into far southern sections of Mason County, the circulation, there's a little bit more density of roads. So I can give you some more roads for reference. Brandenburg, 66 Ranch Road, James River Road, Stayback Mountain, Onion Creek Road. So these are all roads that are within the circulation of this tornado warned storm. Hilda, please be in your safe spot. Anyone near the James River Bat Cave Preserve and in southern Mason County, please be in your safe spot. If you are in Doss, this storm looks like it is on a beeline toward northern Gillespie County as well. So please be in your safe spot. I'll go ahead and do another track. Loyal Valley, you've got some gusty winds there. Hilda, probably dealing with some damaging winds. And let's see, I didn't make it wide enough. I gotta go a little bit broader. I was gonna do a storm track, but I wanna make sure to have a southeast track for you. The storm moving at about 20 miles per hour at last check. And I'm going to do an hour-long storm track. The storms, I mean, they've been consistently holding together, so I see no reason why they wouldn't continue on their general track. Here are some new times based on what I'm looking at right now. Also, a new flash flood warning has been extended for a broader area of Mason County because of the slow-moving system and the heavy rain. It's from 5:55 p.m. right now until 9 p.m. So Mason County, still a tornado warning, also another flash flood warning. The circulation, which is roughly right in here, just to the north of Onion Creek School, here is the Mason County line, here is the Gillespie County line, and right now we're looking at Onion Creek School roughly around 5:58, Doss at about 6:10, Enchanted Rock at about 6:25, and anytime there are storms, they always close the dome because it gets really slippery. That granite is not easy footing, so my guess is they're probably already taking precautions to get people safe at Enchanted Rock. Crabapple, 6:36, 10 Star Shooting Range, 6:38, Harper High School, 6:45, 6:53 Eckers. So those are the latest times based on the leading edge of the circulation of the storm and mapping it out at about 20 miles per hour to the southeast. So this is going to be roughly along Highway 87, moving out of Mason County near Hilda and moving south across near Doss and then eventually to near Harper High School. So those are some references for you. Willow City, you will also be very close to the path and track of this potential tornado as well. I'll go ahead and put it back into motion so we can see the circulation. Time now 5:57 on a Monday evening as we have had a long-lived circulation with a tornado warning that has now eclipsed over an hour. And that means I've been on the air for over an hour tracking this for you. Still looking at potential of hail over 2 inches in diameter with this storm, which continues to have every indication of winds gusting over 60 miles per hour. I'll go ahead and show you the latest velocities from our radar, and this is where we can kind of estimate how strong those strongest winds are. And it does show still right near Hilda, you're probably getting in on some wind damage. Might be enough to snap some tree limbs, might be enough to cause some power line damage. It may also be enough for some shingles on roofs to possibly be affected. But Hilda, there are indications that you've got some winds with these blues in the 60 to 70 mile per hour range right now. Here's Highway 87 and here's Hilda. So very strong winds being indicated here. Meantime, near the James River Bat Cave Preserve, also indications of winds in that 60 to 70 mile per hour range. And this has been consistent for over an hour. There has been a consistent signature of winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour. All right, so the tornado warning box has just been shaved just a little bit. You can see that if you're in grit points west and northwest, you are now no longer under the tornado warning because the storm of concern is moving off toward the east and southeast. Mason, I think that you can stand down. The tornado warning is still technically in effect for you, but the circulation is heading away from you, and it is now well to your southeast. Loyal Valley, remain in that safe spot. Hilda, you're right in the thick of the worst winds, so I need you to continue to take those tornado safety precautions. And when we talk about that, we're talking about lowest level of your home, an interior room away from windows, trying to get yourself as far away from the outside as you can. So the more walls you can put between you and the outside, the better off you will be. For many locations and many people, this would be a bathroom or a hall closet or maybe underneath a staircase. Those are the usual good spots. And right now we're watching as the inflow notch right here, this is the original circulation. But when I look at radar, I'm also seeing a little bit of an appendage or a notch just down to the south. And then these ragged storms, as we look to the west also, some of them have some suspicious looking things as well. So we just basically have to go and continue to analyze, and we will make the assumption that these storms at any point could possibly have a tornado touchdown, which is why our policy here at CBS Austin is to go on and stay on. As long as there is the threat to life and property with a tornado warning, that's our policy. We want to make sure to keep you safe, and that is the #1 priority here. So, Hilda, you're seeing the worst of the wind right now as well. It's heading toward Doss. So Doss, this is kind of your last minute warning. Make sure you get in that safe spot ASAP, because the wind is heading toward you, as well as the potential that there might be a possible tornado. But the tornado warning, radar indicated 2-inch diameter hail for Mason County. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Hilda and moving southeast at 20 miles per hour. Now, it's good that we have not heard of any recent touchdowns, but I did see a report of possible tornado on social media. It's just not something I could confirm. So that's why I wasn't able to give a better indication for you. But a storm chaser, a storm spotter that I trust very well has just posted something on the storm. I don't know if they actually have a tornado, but they said this is a beast of a storm. So nope, I'm not seeing a report of a tornado, and if he had one, he would absolutely be streaming it or sharing it on social. So it's a very strong storm, probably dumping extremely large amounts of hail. Damaging wind, pretty much a given based on what radar is indicating. However, I am not currently seeing a report of a tornado on the ground and or touching down. I am continuing to kind of scan through my social media feed, and so far I'm not seeing a report of an actual tornado on the ground. Sometimes these things can happen in rural areas and you just miss seeing that, but it does continue to be a very good concern. 4 miles southwest of Cookeville, Mason County, report of quarter-sized hail. That's 1 inch in diameter. That was at 5:46. So that was the closest to Mason with this storm. The tornado warning still going until at least 6:15 for Mason County. And I have a hunch that the National Weather Service that's keeping tabs on Gillespie County and Llano County might be currently assessing whether they plan on doing a downstream tornado warning for portions of Llano as well as portions of Gillespie County. I am back to showing you the low-level rotation track, and this is our indicator of how strong the spin in the atmosphere at the lowest levels might be with a possible tornadic supercell thunderstorm. So the blues correspond to the slightly higher rotation signatures, and the purple is weaker. And it's a good sign that we've seen a good amount of purple without it upticking into the blue range. So the fact that I'm not seeing reports of a tornado touchdown on social media right now might be consistent with the fact that the rotation is broader and weaker, but still evident. So it's been one consistent supercell thunderstorm dropping southeastward through the last hour plus with tornado warnings on it the entire way. All right, we have a new tornado warning, which I was expecting. If you are in Fredericksburg, you are now officially under tornado warning, just issued until 6:45. Folks in Gillespie County, Highway 290, Fredericksburg area, Cherry Spring, make sure you are in your tornado safety mode, because the tornado warning has just been issued and extended to you because of the potential of seeing a tornado drop at any moment. So tornado warning until 6:45. Gillespie County, as well as portions of Llano County. Let me show you the full extent of it. This is going to be right near Enchanted Rock as well. Western Bordeaux is going to be Willow City, Eckerd area, Fredericksburg, Cherry Spring, Doss, just to the east of Harper. This is the new tornado warning. Highway 87, Highway 290. Please make sure you are in tornado safety mode. I will go back to the velocity, as we have now three counties actually under tornado warnings. A very narrow portion of southwest Llano County in effect until 6:45, Mason County in effect until 6:15, and much of Gillespie County, including Fredericksburg, until 6:45. Now, folks, this is Memorial Weekend. You know how they have the huge War Memorial Museum there in Fredericksburg? I have a hunch there are probably lots of tourists that were there for observances earlier today. Hopefully they will get the word that there is a tornado warning. If you know somebody in Fredericksburg that might not be paying close attention to the weather, please reach out to them. Send them a text, give them a call, and just say, hey, there's a tornado warning. We want to make sure that no one gets caught in harm's way. Regardless if there's an actual tornado, there could still be damaging winds and a threat. Obviously, we've got over 1,800 lightning strikes within this tornado warning storm as well. The inflow notch now right around the L in Loyal Valley. That is where the most likely area of circulation is. That new tornado warning is in effect until 6:45. The storm has picked up a little bit. Earlier, we were tracking it southeast at about 20 miles per hour. The latest radar scans suggesting that the motion has picked up a little bit. We're talking southeast at about 35 miles per hour. So I'm going to do a new storm track for you. I'll start it in current mode, and we'll do an hour storm track from the storm leading edge out about 35 miles per hour. And this should give us the towns and the times that hopefully will be a good reference for anyone that's in Gillespie County watching this storm move in. Current time is 6:06, so the storm is right over Loyal Valley as we speak. Doss School about 6:08, Cherry Springs 6:15. Please be in your safe spot, lowest level, away from any windows, interior room. Enchanted Rock hopefully has been evacuated because it's super slippery up there with the granite there. 6:20 for Enchanted Rock, Harper 6:26, Tidydale about 6:35, Willow City 6:37, Fredericksburg 6:41. So it's 6:06. We get just about a half an hour or so before this storm with a possible tornado moves into Fredericksburg. And that's where a ton of people are, the wineries, all the shopping. Please, if you know someone who might be out there and unaware, let them know. Kane City 6:52, Indian Springs Ranch about 6:54, Kerrville 6:56, and Albert right around 7:03. No indications as of yet that there's a tornado on the ground. All the indications that we have consistent, strong areas of thunderstorm activity with some consistent weak rotation being noted as well. And that is why we now have the tornado warning that has been extended. So we're now at 6:07. Tornado warning in effect until at least 6:45. Earlier, when the tornado warning was for Mason County, it affected about 2,000 people. Now that the tornado warning has extended to Fredericksburg, we're talking about 11,000 people affected. And that doesn't include the tourists. This is just going to include whoever's on the population census. So my suspicion is that because it's a holiday weekend, a lot more than 11,000 people are in harm's way right now. So we want to make sure to get that word out to them. I'll go back to the velocity. We'll see if the circulation is looking a little more impressive. I will tell you, as I flipped it over, it looks like some of these wind speeds look a little bit heftier than they did earlier. All right, now let's put this into stop mode, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up the velocity so we can see how strong some of these wind speeds could be. You know, it's been in this 60, 70 mile per hour range, but I tell you what, I feel like these pixels right in here, just to the north of the Mason County's here, Gillespie County's here, just to the north of Mason County and the Gillespie County line, these pixels are really looking more like 80-mile-per-hour pixels. So we're talking significant damage in terms of wind possible, even regardless of whether there is a tornado that is on the ground. Loyal Valley, you're in the thick of the worst winds as well, which are showing up in the red, which is probably consistent with 50-mile-per-hour winds. Some pixels of orange consistent with 60-mile-per-hour winds. For your reference, 58 plus is severe. So we do have severe winds certainly being shown on radar. Now let's go and look at the radar perspective as far as the hail is concerned, because that's been kind of the secondary threat. Obviously, the tornado and wind threat has been the primary concern with this tornado warning. We also have flash flood concerns, but in addition, a good core of, in this lighter blue color near Hedwig's Hill, this would be quarter-sized hail, which is about 1 inch in diameter. Once you head into these greens, and I even see some pockets of yellow, that's going to be ping pong ball sized, possibly as large as golf ball sized hail, which is going to cause some damage. So I'll zoom in here and show you where the most likely largest hail could be, and we'll take a look. Golf ball sized hail indeed being indicated, as well as ping pong ball sized hail. So we're still looking at southern Mason County right now for the big hail core. If you're in Gillespie County, this is heading your way, but it's not there yet. Simonsville Road, as well as Shep Creek Road, Zesh Road, and off to the east, Simonsville Road. This is where the big hail core is, and it looks like the latest radar scan has kind of shoved the worst of the hail a little bit farther toward the south, but a good swath of what is severe hail ongoing in southernmost Mason County. There are some pockets of smaller hail that are now starting to push into northern Gillespie County. So for your reference, we're looking at Werner Road, Jackrabbit Road, Doss Cherry Spring Road. Here is Cherry Spring and Highway 87. You are under that tornado warning. We are also dealing with severe hail, and it is all tracking to the southeast, originally about 20 miles per hour. Now we're seeing as it's moving to the southeast at about 35 miles per hour, which means you have less time to get prepared if you are currently in Fredericksburg. ETA for Fredericksburg, somewhere around 6:40, 6:41 based on the current timing. So please make sure you are making those final preparations to get to a safe place, a sturdy shelter away from any windows. You don't want to be in an RV. You don't want to be out on a campground. You don't want to be out on a lake or out on the ranch in a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler. You want to be in a sturdy shelter where you can hunker down and take precautions, because this tornado warned storm continues to show signs of rotation every step along the way. I'm going to go back and show you the rotation track, because that to me has kind of been the best indicator throughout the last hour or so of the strength of this system, which basically is a supercell thunderstorm that has been rotating for hours now. The brighter blues, those are the slightly stronger areas of rotation. The areas of purple are slightly weaker rotation. And while we were on a roll with mainly purple, see how there's a little pixel now of blue? So that could be a strengthening signal in southern Llano County. This is going to be near Hilda, and we're looking at Ranch Road 783. Ranch Road 783, Hilda area, you are under the tornado warning, and you are also likely closest to the possible circulation of this tornado warned storm. So tornado warning does include Gillespie County. Tornado warning for Mason County still in effect until 6:15. Now we have a new tornado warning that has been extended for Loyal Valley, Hedwig's Hill, and Art, all in Mason County. That has been extended now until 7:15. So the existing warning for Mason County has been extended. It will now be in effect until 7:15. That's for the Mason County portion of this tornado warned storm. In addition, the tornado warning for Mason County is up to 2.5-inch diameter hail. I was showing you that hail core just a moment ago. So yes, 2.5-inch diameter hail. Tornado warning still ongoing for Mason County, not Mason the town, but south of Mason County. It does include Hedwig's Hill, Loyal Valley, and Art now until 7:15. It's been a very slow-moving storm. It has been a consistent rotating storm. It has also been one that has showed signs of potential winds of 60, 70, even 80 miles per hour. All right, so we're going to go back to the wide view because it's worth it to check and just see what else is going on out there. Nothing I-35, very light spotty storms that are non-severe through Blanco, Burnett County and eastern Llano County. And then the tornado warned storm, which you can see right in here, this rotating supercell thunderstorm that's dropping to the southeast. That's the one that has you under tornado warning in Fredericksburg. I'll go back and show you again where the worst of the storm is. Loyal Valley, please be in that safe spot, that inflow notch, the most likely area right in here. That circulation right in here, right along 87 from Loyal Valley to Cherry Spring. Be in that safe spot, please, for the potential of a possible tornado touching down. And we're watching as it's now skirting the southern portion of this storm, has now made it to Doss, and we're going to see it continue to push off toward the south and east. Enchanted Rock, as I mentioned to you earlier, also going to be brushed by this supercell thunderstorm. All right, let's see right now if there are any new reports. I'm seeing reports from other locations in Texas, but so far not seeing reports of any tornado touchdowns from reputable sources in either Mason County or the adjacent areas into northern Gillespie and far western sections of Llano County. So we're continuing with a tornado warning, radar indicated, as opposed to a tornado that has been spotted by actual spotters. So proceed as though there could be a tornado touching down at any moment, but also know that currently it is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, and consistent indications of very strong winds. Okay, so the latest update from the National Weather Service on the tornado warning that is for Llano as well as Gillespie counties is that the storm's been moving about 35 miles per hour to the south and east. So I'll go ahead and stop this, and we'll take the leading edge of the storm, and the inflow notch is right here near Loyal Valley. Here's Cherry Spring. So right in here would be the possible tornado. If it's here, this would be where we'd be looking at it. The hail core is right in here into Mason County, and all of this is tracking southeast into Gillespie County. So I'll take the leading edge of the storms, and I'm going to push this out to 35 miles per hour, and I'll give you some updated towns and times for the arrival of the tornado warned storm. Not necessarily the arrival of the supposed tornado, but if there is to be a tornado, it would give you a very good ballpark. So Doss 615, which is currently right now, 620 Enchanted Rock, Crabapple 622, Tivydale 628, Fredericksburg 629, Stonewall 637, LBJ State Park 638, Indian Springs Ranch 639, and Albert 641. So still about 15 minutes for it to arrive, the storm, the leading edge, to arrive in Fredericksburg. So make sure you are staying weather aware and heading to that safe spot now while you have time to do so. Also, because we know that there's been a history of wind damage, if you have any loose objects that you're able to quickly secure before you go inside and take refuge, that would also be a good idea, because sometimes these storms can kind of pick things up, like, I don't know, trampolines or bounce houses or holiday decorations. Any of those things could be projectiles that can be picked up by these strong winds within the storm. Continuing to look at the wind tracker, which is showing lots of blues. Blues are 60, 70, even 80 to 90 miles per hour. Some of these dark blues near Doss are suggesting that we could be getting some extreme winds. Most of this, the radar shooting up above the surface, so this may be winds that are above the surface aloft, but you can imagine that there would still be extreme winds farther to the south as well. The circulation, let's go back and we'll look at the velocities again and just try and pinpoint where there could be the most likely area of a possible tornado. And the circulation is now south of Loyal Valley, near Doss, just to the west of Enchanted Rock, right in here. And it looks as though near Doss, it has really started to enhance a little bit and become slightly stronger as far as the wind speeds are concerned. So the time is 6:15, or 6:17, I should say. Current time, 6:17. Our last tornado warning is in effect for Mason County until 7:15. The one that includes Fredericksburg is in effect until 6:45. So there's a lot of information that I am continuing to share with you, all with an effort of making sure that you stay as informed as possible. And if you need to go to that safe spot, hopefully you're already in that safe spot in Loyal Valley and Cherry Spring, and getting there, if you're out toward Crabapple, along Highway 87, heading toward Fredericksburg, as you're making those preparations, heading toward that safe spot, maybe it's a bathroom or a closet or something like that, grab your phone, because we're streaming this coverage online as well as on our app so that you can stay in the know. You can also download our CBS Austin weather app. It's free in the App Store, and that can also help you kind of stay aware as we have these warnings coming in. But currently, yep, tornado warning, Gillespie, Llano counties until 6:45, tornado warning, Mason County until 7:15, and that tornado warning for Llano County, worth noting, is not including most of Llano County. We're talking this little tiny sliver right here. So here's Llano County. The Llano County portion of this tornado warning is right here closest to Enchanted Rock. So still until 6:45 because of the circulation that is moving toward the south and east. So Loyal Valley and Cherry Spring really in the thick of things. Doss as well. I would suspect there's probably at least some tree damage in Doss. There may even be some power outages just because of the indication of winds that could be 60, 70, 80 miles per hour within this storm. So Loyal Valley, continue to be in that safe spot. Doss, continue to be in your safe spot. Cherry Spring as well. Anyone along Highway 87, Cherry Spring Road, Doss, Cherry Spring Road, Ranch Road 232, Schneider, Mollering Road. All of these locations are within the areas of this tornado warning. Ranch Road 2323, I stand corrected now that I see the full extent of the text there. And also, Welge Lewis Road and Jackrabbit Road and Christian Coffee Road. All of these are roads within the most likely circulation closest to where, if there were to be a tornado touching down, that is most likely where the tornado would be touching down. If there were to be damaging winds, these are the locations closest to the damaging winds. Latest update, it's 6:20 now. Update just seconds ago. Quarter size to $half size hail still possible with this storm in Gillespie County, possibly as high as golf balls, about 1 3/4 inches in diameter. Tornado warning, Gillespie and far southwest Llano County until 6:45. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located over Cherry Spring. So right here, the circulation and the storm over Cherry Spring now, heading to the southeast at 35 miles per hour. This is about 18 miles northwest of Fredericksburg. Fredericksburg, you are in this tornado warning. I do need you to take those precautions immediately to make sure that you are out of harm's way. Also, the tornado warning continuing in effect for Mason County. We're talking far southern sections of Mason County. In addition to that, a new flash flood warning has been put into effect that does include Mason County, and this is for considerable damage. I think we've reached the point where we've had so much rain with this slow-moving system that there is the necessity to message to you, turn around, don't drown. You can see all of Mason County has now just been put under a flash flood warning. This is in effect until 9 p.m. Flash flood warning doesn't mean flash flooding is possible. It means flash flooding is imminent or already occurring, and that's based on how much rain likely has fallen. I'll go ahead and plot on for you the latest rainfall totals, and it really looks like areas near Grit have seen some sizable rain. We love rain, we just don't want too much too fast. Okay, so the orange near Grit is indicating 3 inches of rain. So there is the likelihood with 1 to 3 inches of rain and more rain still falling of some flash flooding within these storms, including again the risk of large hail, including again the possibility of a tornado. So here's the big view. Checking in on Austin and around Rock and Kyle and San Marcos, you're all quiet. Burnett and out toward Blanco, Johnson City, there are a few spotty storms, but nothing of note. Heading out toward Llano, you're starting to see that water move in, the rain, the lots of lightning, but not severe currently. Tornado warning continuing for southwest Llano County, southern sections of Mason County, as well as much of Gillespie County, including Fredericksburg, because of a persistent rotating supercell thunderstorm that has been showing signs of winds 60, 70, 80 miles per hour, pretty much every step along the way for over now an hour and a half. I've actually been talking to you for an hour and a half. Hope you all are staying safe, first of all, and doing well. And I know it's a holiday weekend that is notorious for severe weather events here in Central Texas. And hopefully we can get through this without anything significant. I do think that there's probably wind damage, but I'm hopeful that we aren't dealing with tornadoes touching down. There is the tornado warning, which is radar indicated, which means there is the potential that the storm could drop a tornado, but we currently do not have a tornado on the ground according to the latest indications. Wind speeds, here's Cherry Spring, and again that circulation is basically right over Cherry Spring and Highway 87. These wind speeds showing up in the blues, we're talking 60, 70, 80 miles per hour. The wind speeds closer to Enchanted Rock, Crabapple, and east of Cherry Spring, these are in the reds, which are going to be in that 40, 50 mile per hour zone. So all of that is to say, yes, it's still going to be wind and possible damage will still be a concern. Now let me go back to the shear tracks, and this is showing you that low level rotation track so we can kind of assess where, ooh, this is interesting. Okay, so right now it's showing multiple areas that have ramped up from this purple, which is weak rotation, to the blue, which is slightly stronger rotation. So I would say make sure you're in that safe spot because we're seeing multiple areas now. Sometimes there can be, for instance, multi-vortex tornadoes. There can be multiple circulations or multiple funnels within one supercell thunderstorm. I don't know that that is actually happening right now, but I do know that based on our low-level rotation tracker, we had a pretty well-defined swath of the rotation. And now we're seeing as there are little outcroppings, if you will, of highlighted rotation. So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities to have more than one circulation happening at those low levels as a result of the storm reorganizing or cycling, any of those things possible. So as I see right now, the most likely rotation roughly right over Cherry Spring, moving into Gillespie County, out of Mason County. So right here would be the area most likely of dealing with tornado if there were to be one. 6:25 is our time. We have tornado warnings in effect until 6:45 for Gillespie and southwest Llano counties. We have tornado warnings in effect for southern Mason County until 7:15. Let me tell you something about Mason County is because the storm is starting to move out of Mason County, at least the tornadic circulation. Right here, Loyal Valley, this is Mason County. The circulation is now moving into Cherry Spring, and it's going to continue to slide toward the south into Gillespie County. So next steps, I have a hunch Mason County will probably let their tornado warning go once the area of circulation is well clear of Mason County. After that, I think that the area of southwest Llano County that is currently under the tornado warning will also be let go because the circulation will probably slide truly into Gillespie County. So I think this will end up being a mainly Gillespie County issue within probably the next 10-15 minutes based on what I'm looking at right now, assuming that we don't have any additional circulations pop up farther upstream with the additional storms. So really seeing some enhancement of those winds over the areas between Cherry Spring, near Doss, right along Highway 87. So this stretch right in here near Cherry Spring, this is where we've got those blues, which are consistent with what could be 60, 70, even 80 mile per hour winds, mostly aloft. Some of that does make it to the surface, and that obviously could cause damage in the form of power outages, tree limbs down, blowing away decorations or other loose objects that might be outside. So let's see if there are any additional reports. I, from time to time, like to kind of check and make sure that there's nothing additional being reported in terms of, okay, tightest area of rotation with the Gillespie County storm is nearing Cherry Spring, which is consistent with what we've been tracking. If you're in Cherry Spring, you heard me say your town, so yes, we're all on the same page between what I was telling you and between what I'm seeing from the National Weather Service. Also, those meteorologists are looking at the same things that I am, analyzing the same information, and so we all kind of become kind of partners in this, where we kind of keep each other up to date on what is going on with the storms. Okay, this might be a little encouraging. The last radar scan, some of those brighter blues that were over Cherry Spring have turned just to the darker greens, which is lower wind speeds. So I am hopeful that maybe the storm is weakening at least a little bit. I will say, I thought it was interesting to have multiple areas of rotation as opposed to that one continuous spot. So again, this is the low-level rotation track, and the blues are always concerning because sometimes that can be an indicator of possible tornado. The purples usually are weak rotation and typically don't manifest themselves into long-lived tornadoes, but we do have a long-lived circulation that has certainly been noted across the area. A little bit of rotation noted near Doss, a little bit south of Cherry Spring. The main core rotation was what we were seeing along Highway 87 between Loyal Valley and Cherry Spring. But on the velocities, it did look like those winds might be a little bit lower. Storm reports, just so you know, there probably have been more hail reports than what we're seeing reported. But at 4:13, there was a tornado reporting just southwest of Menard. There was also hail reported. Initially, there was a report of 3-inch diameter hail. Not long after, there was a report of 5-inch diameter hail. That was with this system, which has made its way toward the south and east. There was a report in Cookeville, Mason County, of 1-inch diameter hail. And so far, that's been all that we've seen. By the way, if you're watching the Austin area, you are under a tornado watch. We are under a tornado watch. Austin, Hays County, through the Hill Country until 10 p.m. That means conditions are favorable for possible severe thunderstorms, which could include tornadoes, hail, high winds, even flooding. So until 10 p.m. So we're not, even after these tornado warnings that we're currently tracking, hopefully settle down, we could have additional severe thunderstorms that are ongoing throughout much of this evening and possibly on into the night. So if you have any outdoor plans, lake, pool, anything outdoors, please make sure you have a way to get watches, warnings, advisories, and then check in frequently on that radar app or on my social media pages where I have a lot of this set to automatically push out any warnings that are issued. So hopefully anyone that's been viewing Facebook, X, will be seeing those regular updates with the tornado warnings, which have been ongoing since before 5 p.m. I think I first went on the air this evening, or this afternoon, I should say, at about 4:50. So we've been on the air for over an hour and a half, tracking the same supercell thunderstorm, which continues to have a tornado warning on it. In addition, we are continuing to watch for indications of, a possible actual touchdown. So I look at different products on radar just to see if I can spot anything that would be notable as to whether we have, increasing rotation, decreasing rotation. And right now, it looked as though the wind speeds might be weakening a little bit, but we also have the potential of multiple areas of rotation showing up on radar. So as I look at the velocities, and again, velocities, those are wind speeds. We're looking at the winds within the tornado-warned storm. The strongest winds, which had been bright blue, which is 60, 70, 80 miles per hour, except for this little pixel near the E in Cherry Spring, here's Highway 87 in Loyal Valley, this has really dropped off a little bit. So that might be an indicator that the winds are slightly weaker. At the same time, there does appear to maybe be some secondary rotation happening somewhere in this vicinity just to the south of Doss based on this little spot here. So there might be a little bit of spin just to the south of Doss. I'm seeing a little bit of enhancement here on radar velocity. The bigger area of rotation has been this right near Cherry Spring, and that's been the continuation of the storm that moved its way all the way out of Kimball County. So this is when we kind of get really nitty gritty as far as diving into the details and analyzing this. But yeah, I truly think that we're seeing a little bit of a secondary circulation right in here. I don't know if you all agree, but here in Doss, look at how this is starting to enhance right in here. So I would say if you are southeast of Doss, and again, hopefully if you're in Fredericksburg, you're already on it, you're already taking those precautions. This appears to me to be a strengthening area of possible rotation that is southeast of Doss. And that is a separate area than the one we had been tracking all along, which is this huge swath, which is now moving out of Loyal Valley, east into Cherry Spring, and moving southeastward. It's gonna just brush Enchanted Rock and move along Highway 87. Willow City, Eckert, it looks like you will probably be just on the edge of this, but it does look like it's heading in your direction, so please make sure you are in your safe spot as well. So yeah, just watching radar, watching velocities, and kind of trying to pinpoint those locations where there could be the little spin-ups, the pockets of enhanced radar. Right now, one of those, as mentioned, is near and south of Doss, so Dreckstrasse, and I apologize if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, Grenwelge Road as well, and Doss Spring Creek Road, Manor Road, all of these are within the area of potential kind of enhancement where I'm seeing what looks to be a little bit of an uptick on radar of little circulation. Okay, so Ranch Road 783, Ranch Road 648, Ranch Road 2323. I'm going to go ahead and do a new storm tracker, and we will just kind of take the leading edge of all of this whole cluster, because I'd rather have you safe than sorry. And I will give you updated timing based on the winds, based on the storms moving to the southeast at about 35 miles per hour. Current time is 6:34, and 6:43 Willow City, 6:47 Fredericksburg. So this is a little slower than before. Originally, one of the storm tracks that I had drawn with kind of a due southeast track showed Fredericksburg earlier. Fredericksburg are going to be closer to 6:47 based on this, and this is looking at the center of the rotation, not necessarily the leading edge of the storms. You may see the storms move in first before that area of circulation moves into your area, and then on the north side of the storms is where the hail core is. So it could be a multifaceted storm progression. I just need you to be safe regardless. Fredericksburg 6:47, 6:48 for Gillespie County, thinking that's probably the fairgrounds out there in Fredericksburg. 6:58 Stonewall, 7:02 Indian Springs Ranch, Lukenbach 7:03, Albert 7:06, Johnson City. We're potentially going to see this move all the way into Blanco County if it continues on. Blanco County, Johnson City 7:16, Comfort, south of our area, 7:23, Sisterdale and Blanco between 7:28 and 7:30. So if it continues on a southeasterly track, then we're looking at it pushing through Gillespie County, probably going to be clearing Mason County soon, probably going to be clearing Loyal, or the areas of Llano County, southwest Llano County soon, right here. This is the spot that I'm most concerned about for possible tornado, and it does look like there is a little bit of even brighter echo. I think this is that new circulation that I was detecting that was near Doss. It does look like it has definitely enhanced. So, yep, this is the secondary circulation. Okay, so if I were looking at this right now, I would say that the primary circulation, the one that was over Cherry Spring, looks weaker than what I'm watching right now. Right now, the more dominant area of rotation, to me, based on what I'm looking at on radar, is going to be this, which is southeast of Doss. So I need you to make sure you're in that safe spot, because this is on the upswing based on what I'm looking at. Doss Cherry Spring Road, Ranch Road 648, Rocky Creek Road, Ranch Road 2323. All of these areas, Crenwelge Road, please make sure you are in that safe spot, away from any windows, so that you can be out of harm's way, because it does look to me like we could be dealing with a possible developing tornado here. This is not doing a good job of looking at the winds. It's showing between 30 and 57 mile per hour winds near Pecan Creek Road. But it does, to me, it looks like this is a circulation that's kind of on the upswing as opposed to the downtrend. Well, again, let's take a look. Okay, right in here, the latest radar update, maybe a little bit more broad, but it did catch my eye. So yeah, just remember that things can happen fast. And these storms have been relentless as far as holding together and being strong. Yeah, look at this. Okay, so this is the velocity. And notice how this kind of like sticks out. Occasionally we can have something like that as well whenever there's kind of a hail spike or something like that going on that can interfere, that can basically be like almost like a decoy, or if you will, of what could be a tornadic circulation. But I just, that's a spot I would be really concerned about. Southeast of Doss, if you're in any of those locations I just mentioned, please stay in that safe spot. Hopefully we get through this without any real reports of tornadoes, but better safe than sorry. Do you have a couple new severe weather reports to pass along? Loyal Valley, 3 miles north of Loyal Valley, hail of egg size, that's 2 inches in diameter. That was 10 minutes ago at 6:29. So that was the hail core farther to the north that just came in. I'll do a quick little look at that here on our storm reports. And sure enough, there it is. On the map, you can see where the latest egg-size hail report coming in right here for Loyal Valley. So we know that there have been those reports of severe hail with the tornado-warned storm. Big look at radar, big cluster of storms, 2,000 lightning strikes. The worst of the hail now looking like it's probably moving into southwest Llano County. Right in here, I'm seeing some of those fuchsia pixels. And then watching, I'm gonna go ahead and take the lightning layer off so that you can see better the actual radar reflectivity. And this is where we kind of look to see where the little notches or appendages are, because those are likely suspicious spots where tornadoes might try to develop. So right in here, near Highway 87, north of Fredericksburg, there's one little appendage right in here. I believe that is the original circulation we've been tracking. And then another one, which is right in here, and I think that's the one that is south and southeast of Doss. And then as you look farther to the west, you'll see additional appendages / dangly bits that are possible areas of suspicion. But the biggest concern is going to be the storms that are rolling right through Doss right now, that have pushed through Cherry Spring and are now making their way closer and closer to Fredericksburg, where I hope you are in that safe spot. Time now 6:39. We have the tornado warning that is in effect until 6:45. It does include southwest Llano County as well as Gillespie County. Farther north, the southern sections of Mason County remain under a tornado warning until 7:15, though the tornado warning circulation has actually started to make its way out of Mason County and into Gillespie and Llano. So I would suspect that Mason County will probably cancel their tornado warning early. Loyal Valley, you're about the northern end of the worst of that storm action, which is continuing to drop down toward the south. Cherry Spring, please continue to be in your safe spot. Doss, likewise for you. Fredericksburg, time's just about out. The storms are pretty much right on your doorstep. They're coming on in. Hilltop, you're probably getting the storms right now. As mentioned, the biggest areas of concern are going to be 2323, Ranch Road 2323, Ranch Road 648, Highway 87, Ranch Road 965, Crabapple area as well. Tornado warning, possible hail, likely damaging wind gusts, possibly enough to cause power outages and or snap some tree limbs, or maybe pick up some loose lying objects and send them over into the neighbor's yard. So please make sure you're in your safe spot, which is going to be an interior room away from any windows, a sturdy structure, not an RV, not a mobile home, not a barn. You got to be in a sturdy structure, inside, away from windows, lowest floor, and just hunker down. And you can stream our coverage here on CBS Austin on your app of choice. You can also download our CBS Austin weather app, which we are able to help you for free, have all of the watches, warnings, advisories, and you can track these storms right along with us as we do so as well. All right, so the storms are exiting Mason County as far as the part that's worrisome and severe. So Mason County, if you are anywhere except Loyal Valley, you're pretty much in the clear, if you will, for now. Even if it's still raining, the flash flood warning is still your biggest issue. Llano County, I wouldn't be surprised if we see, okay, so it's a new severe thunderstorm warning. I was going to say I wouldn't be surprised if we need a new warning for Llano County. National Weather Service opted to make it a severe thunderstorm warning, so not a tornado warning, but now because of this hail core right in here that's north of Enchanted Rock and east of Loyal Valley, we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning on that cell. I'll go ahead and plot what the latest parameters are on that new severe thunderstorm warning. All right, so we've also got, yep, the latest report was Loyal Valley of egg-sized hail. The new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for Llano County as well as Gillespie County until 7:15. Threat is considerable, winds 60 miles per hour, hail up to golf ball sized. And so that one is until 7:15, and that's the one we're currently looking at right now on radar, which is the orange box right in here, east of Loyal Valley, includes Enchanted Rock and makes its way all the way down to Willow City. So hail up to golf ball size, winds up to 60 miles per hour, threat is considerable. This is separate from the tornado warned storm, which is just to the south of that area. Let me show you the tornado warned storm. And that's the one that's moving right toward Fredericksburg. The good news is we are not getting reports of a tornado on the ground at this moment. The bad news is that could change because we've had pretty good indications of damaging wind gusts for quite some time. So we really need to be on guard and in that safe spot just to be on the safe side. All right, so tornado and severe warned supercell over Mason, Gillespie, and Llano County. I'm seeing a social media photo of it, and I do not see an actual funnel cloud and or tornado touchdown. I do see an absolutely massive supercell thunderstorm with a pretty big rain shaft. Definitely probably a sight to behold for miles and miles away. But I do not see a tornado on the ground being reported as of yet. There are reports as far east as, for instance, Burnett County. If you're in, say, Marble Falls, someone on social media just mentioned that they're seeing some mammatus clouds, which we often do see on the underside of the anvil of a supercell thunderstorm. Because what happens is that supercell thunderstorm has all of that massive updraft, and then it reaches the troposphere, and at the top of that troposphere, that cloud layer will start to spread out and turn into an anvil, which basically looks like an extension. And underneath that anvil, you'll get what look like little pouches. They're called mammatus clouds because they kind of resemble mammary glands or cow's udders. And they look like pouches that are hanging from the underside of the thunderstorm. We saw them last week with those storms, adjacent to where, remember, the big massive hail hit portions of the hill country as well as San Marcos and Kyle. So apparently we are seeing some mammatus clouds sighted out in Burnett County and probably other locations as well, courtesy of the these storms that we're certainly dealing with right now. But no news is always good news, and the fact that I'm not currently seeing anything aside from photos of look at this big thunderstorm as opposed to look at this big tornado is good. Okay, could not be happier to share this with you. Hopefully this holds. The National Weather Service office that covers Gillespie County, including you in Fredericksburg, do you see this? Instead of replacing the tornado warning with another tornado warning. They have replaced the tornado warning for Fredericksburg and Gillespie County with a severe thunderstorm warning. Does that mean a tornado is not going to happen? No. Does that mean the concern is lower? Yes. So, based on what we're seeing now, the radar indications of a tornado have lessened enough that instead of a new tornado warning, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning now that has been put into effect. That said, Mason County, sometimes they're a little bit slower to clear things. Mason County has not yet cleared its tornado warning. However, based on what I'm looking at in Mason County, that circulation that would have or could have produced a tornado has actually moved off toward the south and east. So, producer, I don't know if it's Gracie or Jess, whoever happens to be in the booth, because the fact that we are looking like it's just a severe thunderstorm warning as opposed to a tornado warning, if you have some news that you want Waltz to cover, this might be a good time to do so. If you're in Fredericksburg right now, I'm still planning on you having gusty winds, possible damage, hail, all that kind of thing. However, the tornado warning has just been canceled for you. Okay, here we go. Mason County, the tornado warning has been lifted. We are officially done with tornado warnings. Time on the clock. Walt, it's been 2 hours consecutive coverage. All right.
Great coverage. Thanks for keeping us safe. You got to keep this in your pocket, though. If you are tracking these storms with Chikage, you can do it in real time, watching her with this in your hand. You can stay up to date with the latest heat alerts, tornado watches, and warnings with our CBS Austin weather app. It's available for download in the App Store or Google Play Store.
Really sad that we were going to have to go back inside.
A lot of people going back inside today. Austinites, Memorial Day plans on the water had to take a rain check due to this afternoon's weather. Then, of course, you saw it ramp up big time later this afternoon. Now, boat rental companies say they saw as little as 10 groups come out to rent boats and kayaks by the afternoon. CBS Austin's Vinny Martirano has more on this story.
Well, earlier today, it was gloomy skies and rain, and it definitely deterred a lot of people from coming out to the lakes and enjoying their Memorial Day Monday, but not us. We still managed to get out here and have some fun out in the water today. But earlier today, the lake was practically empty, but that may have been the perfect time for people to come out and enjoy some family time out on the water.
We've seen a big decrease in kayakers and just people enjoying the water in general.
Memorial Day Monday, normally a day spent out on Austin lakes, was empty throughout the afternoon. Gloomy skies and rain kept many people out of the water.
First it was like just sprinkling, and then it started to drizzle, so we had to go back on the trail.